I was waiting for the secretary to call my name via the internal intercom. I was slightly surprised when she looked at me, smiled, and said, "Mr. Foster will see you now, Mr. Kite. Please take the elevator to the 4th floor and then go through the door on the left." I knew that George Foster was the manager of the Eastern Security franchise, a company specializing in gathering information for a fee. From my online research, I knew that the company had more than 50 offices on the east coast of the USA. The elevator door opened immediately. Soon, I lightly knocked on the heavy wooden door. Then I turned the handle and entered. "Mr. Kite!" exclaimed a well-dressed man behind the desk. He quickly stood up and approached me to greet me. He extended his hand, and I felt the strength of his grip as we shook hands. "Please, have a seat and tell me what Eastern can do for you today," he continued. I sat in the velvet chair and carefully formulated my words. "I am interested in hiring your company to check something for me, Mr. Foster. Honestly, I thought I would be dealing with someone a bit lower than you in the corporate food chain. I saw the name on the door. You're the vice president of the company and the manager of this branch. I still enjoy personally handling as many clients as possible, Mr. Kite. It allows me to keep my finger on the pulse and also understand how I can improve our procedures and services," he replied immediately. "Our company prides itself on its unobtrusive and professional approach. I want our branch to meet the highest standards." "This is very reassuring," I admitted. "I'm afraid my situation might seem a bit cliché for a man in your position. I want to hire your company to determine whether there's any intrigue involving my wife, Monica. This is one of the basic services we provide, Mr. Kite." "It certainly doesn't seem trivial to us," Foster stated. "May I ask if you've already discovered that your wife is unfaithful, or is this just a suspicion, or are you simply worried without any real reason? I think you often face these kinds of problems. I can't prove anything and might be completely mistaken, but Monica, it seems, has been acting strangely lately. She's been busier, staying late at work, and traveling more. Even when she's at home, she goes to work on the weekends. Even on the 4th of July, she went to the office for an hour." I blurted out. "I just want to know what's going on. Maybe it's nothing more than an attempt to succeed in business. I just need to know for sure." "I understand your concern," Foster reassured me. "We do this kind of thing all the time. Sometimes the wife really is unfaithful, but usually, the husband makes mistaken conclusions. Let's hope that this is exactly your situation. I will need to meet with you at your home when your wife isn't there and place some hidden devices to track her actions. What time is convenient for you, Mr. Kite?" "Oh. Are you planning to come to my house and spy on me yourself, Mr. Foster?" I was surprised. "Don't you have technicians or anyone else you send for such things? I didn't expect that someone in your position would do the work with their own hands." "Exactly why we are so successful," the man behind the desk smiled. "As I said, I enjoy personally handling practical tasks. If one of our employees tries to tell me that something is impossible to do or that something isn't working, I will know whether they are right or just feeding me a line." "That makes sense," I agreed. "I read on your website that I will receive a written report, and for an additional fee, I can get the report on DVD as well. I want to choose this option. If there's any trickery, I want the ability to throw the evidence right in her face. After all, this would harm the guilty party in the divorce, wouldn't it?" "Yes, provided that your wife has committed some wrongdoing, Mr. Kite. I advise you to avoid jumping to conclusions. Allow us to do what you are paying us for, please. After all, you came to us for this, didn't you?" asked Foster. "Yes, of course. I didn't want to rush your investigation," I apologized. "It's just that the very thought of Monica having a lover makes me angry and tense. I need to know the truth before I do or say anything I might later regret. We will handle this matter, and soon you will know the truth, don't worry," Foster reassured me. I'll need you to answer a few questions and sign some forms, giving us permission to place your house under surveillance and access your personal records, such as phone records and credit cards. For the next half hour, I answered the full list of questions that Foster asked me. I studied his questions while he wrote down my answers. He was a large man, tan, with an athletic build. He seemed self-assured and very competent. Apparently, he really knew his business. "I'd like to pay by card," I said to him when he asked about the payment. "Of course, we accept credit cards, Mr. Kite. You should be aware that your wife may find out that you hired a service to investigate her activities. Does she have access to the statement for this card?" he asked. "Technically, yes, but Monica never pays the bills and rarely reviews the reports." "It won't be a problem," I replied. "She will never find out about your service unless I take action." "Well, of course, if she's fooling me." After finalizing all the paperwork, we agreed to meet at my house on Friday at noon. Monica had already told me she would be working late that day. At least, she called it work. I left Eastern Security feeling that I had completed my task. Foster promised to provide the full report, including a DVD, within 3 weeks. This would perfectly align with my plans regarding Monica. It was hard for me to hide my suspicions from Monica. The only thing that made this even remotely possible was that, over the last few months, she had been giving me very little attention. I could have raised a frog on my backside and cut off my dignity, and she would have never noticed. Now I had a limited time frame for the task at hand, and I felt that I could manage to hold on for a while, though it would take some effort. That evening, Monica managed to prepare dinner, which was unusual. When I asked her about it, she seemed annoyed. "Don't make a big deal out of it," she warned. "You're doing everything possible to advance at work. You have no reason to be upset about my success, Bill. My job is just as important to me as yours is to you." "I don't have a problem with that, Monica. It's just that recently, you haven't been around as much," I replied. "I rarely work on weekends and never on holidays. Time is money, especially when you already have enough money. We will never have enough time." "Well, thank you for pouring your silly cliches onto me," Monica snapped. "I bet this is something that, damn it, even Confucius never thought of." I realized that my words of infinite wisdom hadn't been heard, so I grabbed a beer from the fridge and went to the living room to watch the news. The next day at work, I was called to the president's office. I was on the middle of the corporate ladder at the advertising agency. I was quite good at what I did, especially coming up with that little touch that made the products look and sound better than they really were. "We've been monitoring your work, Kite," said the president and general director of the company, a man who always puzzled me with why he couldn't address me by name. "You've shown yourself to be innovative and independent, but at the same time, a team player." I realized this guy had been in advertising longer than I had. Saying more while actually saying nothing at all, he was really good at it. Was this what I had been waiting for so eagerly? "You've been promoted to vice president, Kite. Congratulations. You'll be in charge of several of our most profitable accounts," he continued. "You'll have your own office with a team of about 10 people. I'll make the announcement later today." I politely thanked this barrel of lard for bestowing such an honor on someone so undeserving, and with a smile, I left his office. Finally, everything was falling into place. What a pity Monica had to lose her way. After 24 years of marriage and 2 kids, she had earned the right to share in my achievements, and the financial rewards that came with them. True to his word, the boss announced my promotion, and by the time I returned from lunch, people had already started kissing my ass. I shook hands and smiled while the men flattered me excessively. Suddenly, women started finding me attractive. How many times had I sucked up to some guy I always thought was a jerk, just because I heard he got promoted? Now I was that jerk. And it felt great. Friday found me showing Foster around my house. He placed tiny devices throughout our little dump. He was efficient, but discreet. By 3 p.m., he was already packing up his tools. I just got a nice promotion, and next Monday and Tuesday I need to be at the company's headquarters in New Jersey, I explained. Seems like the perfect time for Monica to scratch her itch, if you catch my drift. Well, if she scratches anything, we'll get it on tape, Foster smirked. Your company has an excellent reputation, Mr. Foster, I continued. As a professional with Eastern Security, you can guarantee that you'll capture any infidelity my wife commits in this house, can't you? I absolutely guarantee it, Mr. Kite. I'm very good at what I do. If your wife strays in your house, we'll have the evidence for you. You can count on it. He promised. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, I admitted. Now let's see if the mouse takes the bait. I was promoted to vice president at work today, I told Monica that evening. It means a big salary increase. We'll be able to take a nice vacation and buy a few things for the house. I knew they'd recognize your talents, Bill, Monica cooed. I think we should throw a party on Saturday the 15th. We can celebrate both our 25th anniversary and your promotion. How does that sound? Monica. I'm touched. What a great idea. Your family will come, and a few of my relatives too. The kids can come home from college. This will be an event people remember for a long time. I declared. Don't get too carried away, Bill. It's not exactly the second coming, Monica smirked, but it will be a memorable event. From time to time, Monica would turn back into the woman I married all those years ago. But those moments were becoming fewer and farther between. That I was reflecting on my situation as I drove east on Highway 80, heading to my company's headquarters that Monday. Could Monica really betray me while I was away? In my house? In my bed, could she be that self-centered and foolish? Does she actually think I'm that stupid? I had questions, and I realized that within a couple of days, I'd have all the answers. It was 3 days before our party when Foster returned to my house and removed all his electronic devices. I accompanied him as he moved from room to room. You're sure Monica didn't have any male visitors, didn't make any unusual phone calls, or do anything that could even remotely be interpreted as cheating? I asked for the third time. Trust me, Mr. Kite, Foster laughed. Your wife makes Mother Teresa look like a shady character. She's not having an affair. When will I get the report and the DVD? I asked. You still want the DVD, even if there's nothing even remotely inappropriate on it? Foster asked. I paid for the damn thing, and I want it. I'll find some use for it. Years from now, I'll watch it and make jokes about it, I replied. All right, it's your money. Everything will be ready for you to pick up tomorrow afternoon, Foster shrugged. Long after Foster had left the house, I sat in my home office, thinking about my situation. He had claimed that Monica hadn't cheated on me, hadn't brought any lovers, or even friends, into the house while I was away. What would Monica do if she found out about the surveillance? It seemed likely that she'd be furious and use it as an opportunity to punish and humiliate me. That I had to be ready to block her efforts. That I couldn't shake the feeling that I was part of something that felt more like a life-or-death battle than a marriage. By 11 o'clock, the guests had begun to arrive for our party. By 1 o'clock, nearly all the relatives and friends within a 50-mile radius were enjoying clams, fried chicken, lobsters, and steaks. We had spared no expense for the occasion. Everyone was having a great time, and then Monica decided to be melodramatic. May I have everyone's attention? She shouted over the noise. All eyes turned to her. I've recently discovered that my loving husband hired an agency to track my activities to determine whether I was having an affair. Aside from a few gasps, the gathered crowd remained silent. I accidentally opened the mail yesterday and found that a large payment had been made from our account to a spy agency. I made a few phone calls and learned that Bill had hired them to find out if I'd been unfaithful, Monica hissed. I could feel her venom. I was told that Bill was even given a DVD recording of my actions. Can you imagine how shocked and disappointed I was when I found out about Bill's lack of trust in me, and his invasion of my privacy? Monica lamented. I knew she'd want to humiliate me, but she was better at it than I could have imagined. I simply stood my ground in silence and endured the full force of her verbal assault. So, Bill, my loyal, loving husband, where's that disc? I think everyone here deserves to see the results of your little spy mission and decide for themselves who's really at fault. Let's watch it on that damn big screen TV you insisted on buying. Everyone's here and ready. She growled. Honey, I don't think it's a good idea to air our dirty laundry in public, I said calmly. Why don't we watch it in a more private setting? It is our anniversary, after all. You tried to blow up my life by practically accusing me of being an adulteress. And now you want to just walk away from it like nothing happened. I demand that you show everyone here what you've discovered about my so-called infidelity, you miserable little ferret. I haven't seen this show yet, and I can't wait to enjoy it. Monica shouted. I shrugged, reached into my breast pocket, pulled out the DVD, and held it up for everyone to see. Then I walked over to the player and slid it in. I moved to the far end of the room with the remote and pointed it at the player. The image appeared after a few seconds. Monica and Foster were sitting in our living room. You mean he hired you to find out if I was having an affair? Monica laughed. What are the odds of that happening? What are the odds that idiot would run the payment to us through your card? You've got a perfect opportunity to accidentally discover that he's spying on you, Foster replied. In that case, I'll crush him like a handful of walnuts, Monica smirked. I'm a trained professional. Foster pretended to puff up. That dumb bastard wanted the very best, so he came to me. That's why his company uses us for certain covert background checks on employees being promoted to higher positions. We really dig into their personal accounts and history, much deeper than firms that worry more about legal boundaries. That's how I met you on that fateful day, remember? I'll never forget it, and how determined you were to seduce me, Monica smirked. Was I worth all that effort? I noticed Monica starting to shrink as the events unfolded on the big screen, in full color and surround sound. You'd better believe it. Now get over here, you adulteress. Foster insisted. Monica's face suddenly lit up the screen. She was smiling sweetly, far too sweetly for what was clearly a very private moment. Let's just say she was enthusiastically testing the microphone, and whatever she said next didn't require subtitles. Moments later, her efforts were visibly rewarded. The room fell into such silence, you could hear a pin resign. The footage shifted, Monica was now on all fours, and Foster was offering full technical support from behind. Their faces were in full view, no stunt doubles here. Monica wore the blissful smile of someone who had clearly forgotten about the concept of wedding vows. Foster, ever the professional, reached forward to make sure everything was, let's say, up to standard. Suddenly, Monica found her voice and snapped everyone back to the present. You pathetic bastard. She screamed at me. You set me up. Turn that damn thing off right now. Everyone get the hell out. Now. Spit flew from Monica's mouth as she yelled. Her face was crimson, and it looked like the veins on her forehead were about to burst. Her mother and father rushed to her side as she started to faint. They half carried, half led her out of the room. A few minutes later, only my 2 children and my parents remained in the room with me. What are you going to do, Dad? My daughter asked. This is a damn mess. You just saw what your mother's been up to, Rachel, I replied somberly. And honestly, her words today seem even more despicable than her recent actions. She wanted to torment me, wanted me to suffer for having justified suspicions. She hadn't loved me for quite some time. I think you know that. I'm done with her, and I'm going to move on with my life, sweetheart. Maybe you can convince her to get some help. I don't believe her words or actions reflect the Monica I married, but that's no longer my problem. I'm sorry. I discussed this situation with a very good legal team. Some time ago, I hired a private investigation firm that was recommended by a college friend. When I first began to suspect something, I asked them to keep an eye on your mother. I was stunned when it turned out she was having an affair with an agent from the very firm my company had hired to investigate me. I was being considered for an important position, and they wanted to dig up any dirt they could, so they brought in Foster from a company called Eastern Security. At that moment, I decided I wanted to destroy his career. I hired him to find out if your mother was cheating, knowing all along that she was, and that it was with him. Now I have him on record, on a disc, as a representative of the company that gave me a false report, and also admitting that he likely broke the law while conducting some rather aggressive background checks on me for my employer, I concluded. My legal team tells me that my company should have notified me, and even had me sign a release, before conducting a background check. They also tell me that Eastern Security has deep pockets and is in a world of trouble because of their agent's behavior. He seduced your mother while investigating me, then accepted payment for a report on her actions while being personally involved with her, and finally, knowingly lied to me in that report. I've been assured that companies like this would much rather settle things quietly before the truth hits the papers. This doesn't really feel like our anniversary party, I smirked. It feels a whole lot more like my fully funded retirement celebration. Thank you for being with us. And if you're one of those who watches silently, just leave a like, it helps new stories come to light.